Call the regularly scheduled meeting for July 15th, 2025 to order. If you would, please call the roll.
Commissioner Crosby.
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Rassfield.
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Carroll.
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Peace.
Yes, ma'am.
Chairman Moore.
Yes, ma'am. All right, next we have the invocation by Pastor Blake Smith and then the Pledge of Allegiance by Mark Morrissey with Veteran Services. If you would, please join us.
Morning, let's pray. Lord, we thank you this day that you are already awesome. This day is amazing. We know it's going to be hot, but you're still going to be great. Lord, be with us in this meeting. Have coolness prevail. Give us wisdom. Give all the leading and the guidance they need to keep this county exactly the way you want it. We thank you for so many blessings, not the least of which for Jesus. In his name we pray. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, now approval of the agenda.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, I've had a request to move item number 3 to the regular agenda for discussion.
All right. Okay, with that, can I get a motion?
Motion to approve agenda?
Second.
Motion and second. If you would, please call the roll.
Commissioner Carroll.
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Peace.
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Crosby.
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Rafffield.
Yes, ma'am.
Chairman Moore.
Yes, ma'am. All right, we have no presentations today, so we move on to public comment. This is related to any item on our agenda that is not scheduled for allowing for public hearing. Care to speak? If you would, please come forward, state your name and address for the record. Seeing no takers, we'll move along to consent agenda. Mr. County Manager?
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, good morning. On your consent agenda today, under the Clerk of Courts, item 1, revenue and expenditures, recommendations the board acknowledge receipt of the reports. Under the Budget Office, item 2, FY 2025 budget amendment, staff's recommendations the board adopt a resolution amending the fiscal year 24-25 budget. Under County Attorney, item 3, initial rate resolution for 2025 property abatement assessment program. That item was moved to regular agenda. Item 4, preliminary rate resolution for streetlights, Twin Lake vegetation removal, and stormwater special assessments. Staff's recommendations the board approve the preliminary rate resolutions for the following special assessments: Pretty Way street lighting, Ashland street lighting, Magnolia Hill street lighting, Grand Lagoon Shores street lighting, Twin Lake vegetation removal, and stormwater, and authorize the chairman to sign the resolutions. Item 5, interlocal agreement with Bay County Sheriff's Office. Staff's recommendations the board approve the interlocal agreement with the Bay County Sheriff's Office related to training and other obligations with Priority Dispatch Corporation, and authorize the chairman to sign the agreement. Item 6, Sugar Sand name change. Staff's recommendations the board adopt a resolution renaming Sugar Sand East to East Sugarland Sand Way and Sugar Sand West to West Sugar Sand Way, and authorize the chairman to execute the same. Item 7, final plat or replat administrative authority approval. Staff's recommendations the board adopt a resolution designating an administrative authority to issue final approval of a plat or replat. Under County Manager's Office, item 8, TDC appointment confirmation. Staff's recommendations the board confirm the City of Panama City Beach TDC recommendation to appoint Jason Branks for the remainder of the collector seat term, which will expire on December 30, 2027. Under Emergency Services, item 9, ratify the Florida Department of Management Services Agreement Amendment. Staff's recommendations the board ratify the amended Public Safety Answering Point Upgrade Project Grant Agreement with the Florida Department of Management Services. Item 10, first due agreement non-renewal. Staff's recommendations the board approve the non-renewal of some to all of the modules in the current agreement with Carriage Soft Technology, Locality Media, DBA First Due, and authorize staff to seek replacement providers. Under Tourist Development Council, item 11, TDC contract amendment FY 2025. Staff's recommendations the board approve a contract amendment authorizing the Panama City Beach Convention and Visitors Bureau to assume management of the Bay County Artificial Reef Program. Under Utility Services, item 12, North Bay Wastewater Treatment Facility Sequential Batch Reactor. Staff's recommendations the board award contract ITV 25-39 North Bay Wastewater Treatment Facility Sequential Batch Reactor Improvements Hurricane Sally Project HMGP 4564-022-A in the amount of $4,899,690 to Marshall Brothers Construction and Engineering, Inc., and authorize the chairman to execute the contract and make any necessary contract modifications as approved by the county attorney. Mr. Chairman, that's your consent agenda this morning, and staff respectfully requests a motion for approval.
All right. Can I get a motion?
Motion to approve. Second.
A motion and a second. If you would, please call the roll.
Commissioner Crosby?
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Carroll?
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Bradfield?
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Peace?
Yes, ma'am.
Chairman Moore?
Yes, ma'am. All right, now we are to item number 3, initial rate resolution for 2025 property abatement assessment program.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, staff's recommendations, the board approve the initial assessment resolution for the 2025 Property Abatement Assessment Program and authorize the chairman to sign the same. County staff is available for any questions you may have.
Good morning, Commissioners.
I appreciate it. I had asked to have it moved off, and I just wanted to really just discuss the entire thing just a little bit. I want everyone to know that this includes someone that, let's just say, doesn't mow their grass. So, say there is a illness in the family, or the person that lives there is sick, cancer, whatever, brings them down, can't mow the grass. They get a ticket, they still can't mow the grass. Then a lien gets put on their house, and their house can be taken from them for mowing the grass. I feel like we need to find another solution for these small situations, and I just can't, and I would love for someone to try to help me understand it more, or make me feel like that I think it's okay to do that. So,
I'm sorry, ma'am. Susie, this is for the attorney's office.
Oh.
Your item's next.
I was just looking at the agenda.
I don't think she's good.
Not that I don't know about this, but you go right ahead.
So
Okay.
We've discussed it, we've had one-on-ones, we've discussed it before. I've never liked it, and I still don't like it, and I think that we, as a group, could come up with a better solution for some of these small things. Now, I don't know if there's a way to put a dollar amount on it. I mean, I mow my own grass. My brother's sick, I go mow his grass when I get through. But if he didn't have someone like me, then he would have this problem. So I just think we need to try to think out of the box once in a while on some of these things and see if we can come up with a better solution for the smaller things. And Bob Micah had told me about a 211 number you could call, which I didn't know anything about it until right this minute this morning. So I'm certain that there are other people that don't know about it, and I don't know if that's maybe getting Valerie to help us get the word spread about that, and maybe some of these instances won't happen at all, or maybe we could pull these small things out of this. I realize people need to clean up their place. I'm not saying they don't need to leave abandoned cars, and I'm 100% understanding that their house doesn't need to be falling in around them and not do anything. But there are certain circumstances that I think we need to try to have some sort of a workaround, if you want to call it that. I'm not sure what you call it in government, but that's what we would call it in the everyday world, so.
If I could maybe suggest, on the limit, I think we can have a conversation about whether there's an ability to set a limit, maybe certain charges below, maybe don't go to lien. But there will have to be a mechanism for the public body to collect expenses on private property. So what that would look like is, let's say you set the limit at nothing less than $1,000. At some point in time, and I'm kind of going to look at you, Bill, because this is we would have to probably have a process where that would convert to bad debt, and then the board would have to make a decision to either waive that debt or have a debt collector go. Now, again, it would still be somebody pursuing the individual to get the funding, but it would not be as intrusive, to your point, as it going on the tax bill and someone losing their house. So we could maybe have a mechanism where we don't convert things to a lien below a certain, but we would still need to have some mechanism to go get the public money back.
And I do think that they eventually should have to pay for it. If we have to go in and mow their property, I mean, I've got a pretty big yard, and it takes me about an hour to get it all mowed and cleaned up. So I think number one, the price for us going to do it should be a fair price, whether we sub it out or whatever it is. But the person still is going to have to pay for it. I just don't think we should take their home away from them because they didn't cut their grass. And if we can do that by putting some kind of a lien on their house anyway, that if they sell their home, they have to pay for it, or if someone inherits the home, they have to pay for it, the lawyer has to figure all that out. I just think we just need to think about.
If I could, Chairman,
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioners, I just wanted to clarify that these go through a process where they have had multiple chances to speak with the magistrate, and the magistrates, if there is some circumstance, are usually more than willing to give them extensions. And then I think there's also an opportunity to apply for a hardship if needed. So I didn't want you to think that it's a one-time thing and they haven't had notice, because they have had notice. And a lot of it is, could be demolitions, could be derelict vehicles, could be junk, trash. I don't think most of these are just having the grass cut. I just wanted to clarify that.
Sure. And even with the derelict vehicle, they could have a derelict vehicle that they're still making a payment on.
If you have a structure on the property, I believe you can have one derelict vehicle.
Right.
So it's more like people who have multiple derelict vehicles sitting on their property.
Sure, and I've seen that, and I agree with that, and I agree with what you're saying. I just think we can come up with something besides taking the gamble that it's going to work out that way every time. We could come up with a solution. We certainly need to get the word out about someone that would come and mow their grass. And
I would think that people would have the opportunity, maybe like their churches or something like that, also to ask
talking about.
the
He can give us
community,
a little more
somebody.
insight on the
Yes, ma'am. So there's a
211.
program that we fund through the United Way every year. It's 211. It's an
to help people
information
out with
line.
this.
And so we'll circle back and make sure that code enforcement is distributing that information. So if you're in that situation, you can call 211. There are agencies who sign up, faith-based organizations, nonprofits who will come out and they'll help people with cleaning their property. They'll help people with repairs. They'll help people with removing vehicles.
Yeah, maybe we can
They
do a
help
better
people pay their
job
power
and
bills, buy their groceries.
let
and
the
so-
public know a little bit more about that.
Let's try to help a little bit more.
Okay, I'll
before we-
definitely talk.
before we-
I'll talk with code enforcement and we'll try to learn, and I'll figure out a little bit more about that and how we can sort of get the word out a little bit better and maybe talk to some people at their
Well,
hearings.
do you think you could come up with a solution to do like Bob's saying, $1,000 cutoff on actually taking somebody's home? Even,
We can definitely talk about whatever y'all want to
Yes, ma'am.
talk about.
We can, just for clarification, we can bring that back. What we're asking you to do today is just simply put this tool in the toolbox. In September, there's actually a separate public hearing process where these individual assessments are put on a public meeting, and the individual property owners have an opportunity to come and protest. So what I would request is, the board take whatever action it feels appropriate on this item today, and then between now and the fall, we
Yeah.
bring a policy back to you that we've had time to vet with the clerk's office and the county attorney's office to have you adopt, so that when that assessment roll gets set in September, anybody that's in that category would be dropped off or would not be. on
Correct.
that.
This is just the very first step of
Yeah.
this, so the public will get an opportunity to object and to attend the public hearing on it.
sure, and I'm sure that there's a little lady who's been sick with cancer is going to want to rush up here and defend herself about cutting the grass. That's not what I had in my mind, just telling you, just being honest. I would like to see us put something in play, simple $1,000. It's not asking
Okay.
that much. And if they sell the home or someone inherits a home, they got to pay the bill.
Okay.
We don't want to, if everyone's good, I'd like to make a motion to that we accept this property abatement assessment program with that caveat in there, and smart guys and gals can work out the details on the $1,000. So however we can write that up as a motion, I'd like to make that motion.
Like a threshold, $1,000 threshold?
Just for a
Cap.
simple, some grass cutting or cleanup or something like that. And I'm not talking about we go and cut the people's grass every week, you know, we just,
Does this open up the door where people can, I get $1,000 credit? So I just worry about, we open up
Yeah.
the door and then people start abusing the system.
yeah, they
I think,
could, guess.
Commissioner Carroll, what we would bring back to you would be, if I understand what Commissioner Peace is saying, is that they wouldn't be released of this, we just wouldn't convert it to a tax lien. We might put it on as a lien on the property through another mechanism. So they may still have a lien, it just would not be on their tax bill where they have to pay it every year, and if they fail to, that their property goes to the tax sale. Is that clear? Is
Yeah,
that-
and
is
I
that what
think
I'm
we
hearing?
do have some liens now like that, if I'm not mistaken. Or we did, because I know of one person that we had some on. I think the liens are still there. I don't know. You're 100% right. We don't want to open the door for anything
But
like that.
the other part of
but
this is we can monitor that. We can monitor and see how much of that is, I mean, we've taken this position on several other programs in the past, and what has happened is those kind of non-tax liens have gotten to the point where they're significant, and they've languished for years. And previously, the board made a decision to take a certain number of those and convert them to tax liens after a certain number of years when the property didn't transition, they weren't paid off. So that may be something that the board
Yeah, well, we could-
might be
we
asked to
could-
revisit in the future, because short of that, we can't carry, for audit purposes, I can't carry that account payable bad debt on our books without providing some type of answer to the public on how we're going to release that. And short of a lien or converting it to a tax lien, you will have an item back in front of you at some point in time where you're asked to forgive that debt. And sometimes those numbers can be, over years, can be significant. They can be hundreds of thousands of dollars that you're being asked to waive, which again, the board can do. I just want to make sure that,
Right, but that's not what I'm asking for here. It's-
But that is kind of the extension of it, though, is if we do this in a certain way and we don't button down the four corners of it, we could expose future boards, whoever they may be, to that same issue. So the point you raise is valid, and I think of the same thing. I dealt with one citizen that was talking about, this isn't fair. But the flip side is, if everybody else on that same street is doing what they're supposed to do, is it fair to those other people that are actually following what they're doing? I understand what you say about that one person that's sick, but for the one person who's sick, there are a whole lot of others that, to Robert's thing, we need to make sure in everything we do, and it's one of the frustrating things I think that all of us experience with this, is that balance that we've got to find in how to do this for those that do need it versus those who try to abuse the system. And the staff that works for the county and them enforcing those for the benefit of everybody else. What I would like to see out of this personally would be, is we go through this, is let's just make sure we've got through September before we have to make our final vote. Let's just make sure that with county attorneys and everything, we look at making sure we're looking at this, what goes through the tax lien side, what goes through from recording a public lien with the clerk and everything on that end. But I'd also like to look at this, because we recently made changes to the way code enforcement works, of let's make sure that we understand that process from the beginning of now, that like there are two hearings before the magistrate, one that happens initial, they're given time, and then there's the follow-up. So let's look at that and holistically, with inclusive of what Claire is asking about which avenue that we're going to use inside of doing that, to see which path this needs to flow down. Because one of the things that, if we create too much ambiguity, we're going to, like I said, my concern is we're going to have stuff that's going to leach through and down the road to what Bob's talking about. I mean, we got notice from the state about our Doge audit, and that's starting up. So I'm thinking about, with audits and different things like that, we need to make sure that we're not doing something that could create a finding for us later on from the county that we'll have to deal with. But I mean, again, your point is valid.
No, I agree with what you're saying, and I think we could, I'm certainly not saying we forgive the money at all. So we know that. I'm just trying to say that there has to be a mechanism that we can try to help the people a little bit before we,
Without doing the tax lien?
doing a tax lien, which there are some on the books right now that are not connected to taking someone's house. I'm not sure what they're called, but we did look at them on someone else quite a while back. They are some type of a lien. Do you know?
They're not, the ones that are not tax liens are usually a mechanics lien, I think is probably the proper way to define it. So, for example, if somebody has a number of recurring code enforcement citations, which are different than this, and they stack up, we may at that point go take all of those and create a mechanics lien on
They
the
can get a
property.
bunch of
Have to be
fines.
looked at in a different light, because
So-
they are definitely gaming the system. I'm talking about,
So, Mr. Chairman, what I would take from this conversation is that, we would bring back to you a draft policy. We'll start at $1,000, and we'll put some of this information, then we'll bring it back between now and September for you guys to have on an agenda. And in the intervening time, you can individually provide us direction on what you want to see. But I think that's the direction I'm hearing today is let's, bring a policy back with this $1,000 minimum in a draft, and then you guys can,
so I hate to
further
push
direction.
this off, because I know it's important not to continue things. So shall we just vote for this as is, with knowing that you're going to bring this back, so I can just pull my motion back?
yes, ma'am,
and-
because all this does today is it just establishes it just authorizes the program. And what we'll bring back to you between now and September is the modification to the rules, if you will. But before you have that hearing in September.
This is framing,
They just got to go back and draft it.
All right, well, I'm happy to
this
remove
frames,
my motion, and we'll make one to move along here so that we can get this done with knowing that we're coming back in September with a solution. It seems like everybody agrees we need to find some little something. It's not a big deal, but it could be a big deal to someone. So,
I'll second that.
thank you.
all right, motion and second, if you would, please call the roll.
Commissioner Peace,
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Carroll,
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Crosby,
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Rafield,
Yes, ma'am.
Chairman Moore.
Yes, ma'am. All right, now, we are on to you, Susie. This is on the regular agenda, item number 13, Budget Office, proposed maximum millage rate for fiscal year '26.
Let's try this again. Good morning. So before you today are the proposed maximum millage rates for fiscal year 2026. These are the ceiling numbers, which means that the millage rates that are adopted in September can be no higher than these. The proposed rates are as follows: General Fund, 5.4362 mils, Mosquito Control, 0.2000 mils, and MSTU Fire Services, 1.5030 mils. So we recommend that you have any discussion needed and authorize the certification of these rates to the property appraiser, and we're here for any questions.
Questions for Susie?
Tell us what, if we had to end up going with this maximum, what that would do to an average individual's tax as far as millage, first regular millage and mosquito, and then fire.
Well, I do have the data in front of me for just the fire portion. So everybody's general fund millage stays the same.
Okay,
Mosquito
if you just say that a little bit louder.
The general fund millage stays the same.
General fund millage stays the same?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that's perfect.
Meaning no increase.
No
No
increase on
increase.
general fund. Okay, that's really what I was wanting, why I wanted you to split it out. So
And
thank you for
same with
that.
mosquito control, remains the same. The increase would be to MSTU Fire Services millage. It's a 0.1230 increase. And again, this is just proposed. This is the ceiling. We still vote on this in September. For an average unincorporated homesteaded property in Bay County, which is the only properties that get the fire tax, the average is about $176,000 in taxable value. So that ends up being an additional $22 a year.
22 per year.
Yes.
We had a lot of meetings on this, and thank you so much for every single department went in and got their budgets in order so that we did not have to raise that main millage. Now, the fire, we had several meetings about that, and that started out quite a bit higher than it is now. There most definitely is a need for new equipment and new things that are in this budget, and I appreciate very much the chief working with all of us and trying to get this down to a situation where we could have some this year, some next year, and not everything at one time, so it would cause us to go up, and I appreciate all the hard work on that.
Echoes the same thing Claire said. You know, I got to tour these fire stations and touch trucks and pull oil sticks and look at ripped seats and old equipment. And this was much better than where we started. I agree. We had a lot of meetings and there were a lot of tensions in those rooms. And being a first-year commissioner, if I showed my rear a little bit, I don't apologize. Trying to save our constituents as much money as we can, but I think we met a good median ground on this. So thank you guys for everything you do.
Mr. Chairman, if I could, real quick.
Yes,
point
sir.
of clarification, I'd just like to point out those meetings you've been having were individual meetings with me and my staff.
Yes,
Not
one-on-one.
not collectively, so that there are meetings that my
course
staff
not.
and I have with you
One-on-ones.
individually, yes. Thank you.
A lot of sausage making, so great job to staff. And again, this is the ceiling. We've still got time between now and September for the final adoption, but this would be the max that it would be. So by September, it'll be this or lower.
And just a side note, your new budget books will be on your desks when you get back upstairs,
Perfect.
Magically appear.
magically.
Definitely better than where we started. Definitely better. Thank you for your work. Appreciate it.
I'll add to that, and just from the standpoint of also to the constitutional officers, the sheriff, and all the others, they submitted their budgets. This is part of what's going into this as well. So, you know, we're a growing community. We've got a lot of new people that live here now. Our services are in demand, and we're trying to meet that growth and appreciate everybody working to try to do that as efficiently as possible as we continue to move forward and with a growing infrastructure, a growing population, and a lot of the reasons why these people are moving here. I've read many a survey of people that have moved here and asked why, and one of the reasons is public safety. And so we need to make sure we continue to address those and appreciate everything that was done to help us get there. And again, thank you, and thank you for pinch hitting for Miranda.
She sends her regards.
Oh, she's just happy she didn't have to do it.
Yes, she is.
All right, with that, can I get a motion?
Motion to approve?
Second.
All right, motion and second. If you would, please call the roll.
Commissioner Carroll.
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Bradfield.
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Crosby.
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Peace.
Yes, ma'am.
Chairman Moore.
Yes, ma'am. All right, next into Public Works, fiscal year 25 annual resurfacing, Phase 2 contract award. Mr. Keith Bryant.
Thank you, sir. Good morning. On May 15, 2025, a request for bids for the FY25 annual resurfacing Phase 2 project was advertised, and a pre-bid meeting was held on May 27, 2025. Staffs evaluated the bids, and Roberts Inc. was the lowest responsive bidder. The requested motion is A, award contract 25-42, the FY25 annual resurfacing Phase 2 project to Roberts Inc. in the amount of $922,305.90. And B, authorize the chairman to execute the contract and make any necessary contract modifications as approved by the county attorney. Any questions?
Questions for Keith? Any comments about this? Seeing none, can I get a motion?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion and second. If you would, please call the roll.
Commissioner Crosby.
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Peace.
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Bradfield.
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Carroll.
Yes, ma'am.
Chairman Moore.
Yes, ma'am. Now on to, number 15, again, Mr. Keith Bryant, Philip Griffith Senior Parkway route selection.
Thank you, sir. The Philip Griffith Phase 3 Project Development Environmental Study has identified 3 potential routes between Clare Avenue and Chips Hill Parkway. Within the project limits, the northern border of Breakfast Point neighborhood was treated as the southern limit of the study area, and a long-established conservation easement north of Breakfast Point was treated as the northern limit of the study area. Philip Griffith Senior Parkway Phase 3 is being evaluated to improve mobility in the region by providing an alternative route to US 98 or Back Beach Road. All 3 routes converge east on Breakfast Point at the eastern terminus of the project, located on Chips Hill Parkway, that's there at the roundabout. Through comprehensive engineering analysis, environmental assessment, and public engagement, the project team has identified the northern alignment, M1, as the recommended alternative for PGS Parkway Phase 3. Many residents of the Breakfast Point neighborhood have expressed concerns about the proximity of the roadway to their homes, citing issues with aesthetics, noise, cut-through traffic, and a potential loss of property value. This alignment provides the least impact to the adjacent residents. Our requested motion this morning is to authorize the chairman to sign a resolution of support for the selection of the northern route M1 for the Philip Griffith Senior Parkway Phase 3 project. Our consultants from our design team are here this morning if you have any questions.
I don't know if you
Can
can
you
put
show
it
it?
up where people can see. Can we? I mean, I guess it's not necessary, but I've attended all of those meetings, as you have, Keith, and I think the main goal of the neighborhood and for us was to get that road as far away from the homes as we could possibly get it away. They have done the studies, they have checked the wildlife, plants, everything that has to do with environmental of building a road down in an area where it was a little tricky, so to speak, in a lot of areas. And I think we have gone as far as we can possibly go. I don't know if the consultants might want to talk about that a little bit, but I think we have accomplished what the neighbors wanted as far as getting the road as far away from their homes as possible. And maybe you could talk about the trail that's going to be beside the road a little bit, if you wouldn't mind.
As part of the project does include the expansion of Gales Trails west to Chips Hill Parkway. This is something we worked with Panama City Beach to accomplish. They've been expanding, east. They have been expanding east for some time, and we will continue that all the way to Chips Hill. It's an integral part of this project.
So it's east of Chips Hill.
East to Chips Hill, yes, ma'am.
So I think it's going to turn out to be a little nicer than, of course, the first drawing we sent out was simply a drawing. It wasn't really, where the road was intended to go, and I think we got off on a bad foot with some of the folks in the neighborhood with that. But we have since had several meetings for them to come to and shown them about where the road's going to be located, and I think we have got people, a lot of folks in favor of that road now. There are always going to be some that just don't think the road needs to exist, but I think we've done a good job of Keith and the staff, and certainly the consultants have come and answered every single person's question they could possibly answer, and they have put all of their questions on their website so that everyone can see them, even those that were unable to attend the meeting. So the consultants have done a very thorough job of communicating with the neighborhood, and I appreciate that.
Thank you, ma'am.
Mr. Chairman, if I could? Yes, sir. Keith, what is the typical section of this right-of-way, starting with the right-of-way width, number of lanes that we're designing for? Ultimately, I think we're only going to build 2 to begin with, but.
Yes, sir.
Can
So
we do
this
overall?
is a two-lane limited access roadway. The right-of-way typical section, without calling the consultants down, and they are coming down.
See, I wanted them to come up to earn all this.
Yeah, that's right.
Engineers love to come to the podium. I can see the smile on their faces.
Yes,
Thank you, thank you.
If you say so, sir. We do have a rather large typical section, and I'm sure the team can speak to that. One of the components of this roadway, Panama City Beach is in dire need of looping their water system. So this is an integral part of this project. They will loop their system along this right-of-way corridor, which greatly benefits the customers and the citizens out at the beach. So that's a part of the project. Of course, the path is part of the project. As to the exact size of the right-of-way width, I'll turn that over to the team.
Thank you, Commissioners. Dexter Gordemuller, Gordemuller Engineering. So yes, sir, we were looking at a 200-foot right-of-way somewhere, and that's our preliminary design. This is sort of picking the alignment's a big deal, so as we get into the final, continuing on to design, that we'll further identify that. But right now, we're looking at a 200-foot right-of-way, as Keith said, two lanes. We're looking at a number of different angles on the actual typical section as far as curb and gutter and the best way to handle stormwater. But with us picking the alignment, that's going to help us nail some of those design decisions down. We'll also continue the Gales Trail. There'll be a section that'll actually be Gales Trail separated from the road, as well as a section that will actually be alongside the road that will provide that connectivity all the way to chip seal. And so far as with us having the alignment now and being able to really dig down and make those design decisions, but we're looking at that 200-foot right-of-way, 2 lanes, as well as a shared use trail that's going to provide a lot of connectivity, as well as some utilities. What's that?
Any kind of golf cart path within that?
Just the 12-foot shared use path. Those typically are non-motorized, but that's what we're looking at right now.
And with it being limited access, is it going to have a higher speed?
This will be a 45-mile-an-hour design speed.
And because we're severing that mitigation bank, are we having to elevate this roadway to have wildlife cross
So
or
that's
anything,
somewhat going to drive the elevation of the roadway. The profile of the roadway is going to be somewhat tied to the elevations that are out there, and we have set those. We're looking at almost 10-plus feet of fill in some sections, and then we'll probably look at some individual drainage crossings, as well as probably there is a slough that's through there that we'll have to elevate and cross as well with a bridge.
Is that like wildlife crossing as well, or is
They'll
that a
probably
concern
be-
with the agencies?
Yeah, that'll be determined as probably as we get to really into the more detailed permitting.
And with us, I agree, for the residents, the northern route is the best way. I mean, obviously, it'll limit the noise. Is there a big cost driving factor by shifting further north?
That was going to be a little higher in cost just due to the additional length. But
Is it the most expensive route? How about that?
I would say it's probably the most expensive route.
Okay. But it's the least intrusive. Are the agencies on board yet? Have we approached DEP and the Corps about these
Well,
yet?
we're-
We've had preliminary meetings with, so the process went through, DOT allowed us to utilize what's called their ETDM process. That's the early transportation decision-making. So the project was vetted to, it's a list of about 67 agencies, of which DEP, U.S. Fish and Wildlife, the Army Corps and such are in there. Who DEP is the mitigation bank sponsor, with St. Joe being the owner. We've had several follow-up meetings with them in kind of a joint agency meetings to get their preliminary concerns. As Dexter indicated, they do not like to speak conceptually, right? It's like this is a line and then there are ideas. And so when you get the line, and as we're working towards now, get to that northern line, that's when you have your footprint and they're willing to speak more specifically to it. And St. Joe's able to speak to what is occurring. So the answer to your question is yes. We've begun conversations with them. We understand and have documented their concerns. We've documented what we believe are going to be their requirements and issues moving forward. But then as you get into permitting, that's when those official conversations begin and happen in earnest.
And so that EA, I know, was very important to St. Joe. I mean, they created all this prior to basically water management being in our area. So they basically set kind of the rules, and water management seems to kind of have followed the same rules. So I just want to make sure that we're not jeopardizing all the work and everything that they have done to create these land banks, because it's a big deal.
Right, absolutely.
Just want to make sure we're not going too far down the path to getting, nope, sorry, you can't go this way.
Yeah, it really is kind of a chicken and egg situation, and sometimes it can be a little bit grayer, like where is the chicken, where's the egg, but ultimately, like Keith has said, is in order to progress those conversations, to confirm the conversations that we've had up to this point, identifying the line and the footprint so that we're all at the table discussing, permitting and moving forward with that is the best path forward at this point in time to be able to progress toward that. So no, the concerns that you bring up are the absolute interests of the team to contain the integrity of that and the bank and how we move forward. And we're utilizing a couple of other bank experts that do this around the state of Florida, along with our biological team, to help further those conversations. So what portion of it is actually land bank mitigated? Is the majority of it? So if you can see, I'm sure you guys can see on your screens what I'm looking at above me here. So the lightest green shaded area north, right, that is the Breakfast Point Mitigation Bank whole. The dark green blocked within that is the conservation area within the mitigation bank. So that's Breakfast Point right there. Yeah, so the point of the line, the dark blue line on the top, whatever you're looking about, that middle third is what's through the bank. And you can see how we've brought the line down as far as possible once we get past the neighborhood to, as best possible minimize the involvement with the bank.
Thank you. So I know as part of this process, this obviously is crucial, so we can keep going. Can you talk a little bit about timeline from here? Because I know for 22 years, I've lived in the Cove and driven to the west end of that beach because my office is past 79. So this is, I'll go on record, highly needed. We all know this is needed. When Back Beach trips 85,000 cars a day, that's too much for that roadway. Even six laning, it's probably still going to be a D or an F. So.
Yes, sir, and I think that's seen by the DOT being one of the suppliers of funds for this project. The legislature, for the second time this year, put funding towards this project. So the legislature sees the need for it, the DOT sees the need for it. The six laning is going to, shortly after the opening fail, just due to the excessive volume on Panama City Beach Parkway, especially with 5 new signals coming along the corridor. With the route selection, as the team said, they can move forward with that route getting now a better alignment, a better understanding of where the alignment will be with the agencies, where we can move forward on what this path is going to take for us to get to a final product. So time-wise, can you speak to that, Vinny?
Yeah. Vince Spar with Kimley Horn. The timeline for we are under contract to do both this PD&E study, the phase we're currently in, and the design. And so this step of establishing this alignment, as Keith mentioned, as Dexter mentioned, is really about giving us a resolute, here is the corridor that we're going to stay within. That is going to allow us to collect the geotechnical information, some of the survey information that we haven't been able to do yet. There are some limits on what you can do inside that mitigation bank before we have this alignment and before we begin the process to condemn that. So from here, we anticipate about a 2-year design process once we have that data and collect that data and begin to get that information and really fine-tune those aspects of the design for the roadway with a lot of review at the county level as well as at the DOT level, because they are partners in this, and although they don't have to be signatory on the NEPA study, the Project Development and Environment Study, they have offered to be partners with it and to help pursue funding in the future.
Great.
Robert, I think you'd be surprised at the folks in the neighborhood, and some of your questions were exactly their questions. They're very, very smart group over there, and they ask a lot of the same things that you did. And
Yeah, I've spoken to several in that neighborhood, so I think it's exciting, and thank the team for moving forward. And if we can get that 2 years down to a year and a half or so, it'd be even better. So no pressure, guys. And thank you all for speaking.
Hey, before you go, Keith, I have a question. Maybe you touched on it just for a second, but can you explain to the public kind of where this money comes from, how it's appropriated, how we come to this conclusion? Because I get questions all the time. You try to explain buckets of money and how match money works, and state money, DOT monies, county monies. Can you kind of tell the public kind of how this project came to fruition and the monies?
Yes, sir. So originally, Bay County received a $2 million allocation from the legislature to do this study design project. The need has been well established for many years that we needed another corridor to move east-west traffic at the beach. Not to make light of our neighbors to the west, but we do not want to become Destin, where we have such a bottleneck trying to get through town. So the legislature appropriated $2 million. The Department of Transportation reached out when we received the $2 million and said, hey, we understand that's not enough funds to accomplish what you need to do. They awarded the county a TRIP grant for $2 million that got us to the level that we were at until recently. The legislature just appropriated another $1 million this year to assist with the mitigation bank cost. The property that's through the mitigation bank is not very valuable property. I'll be honest, it's wet, but it is very valuable in that it's part of the bank. And the county's going to have to reimburse the bank owner for the loss of mitigation credits that will occur when we build the road. So that's a larger cost than the actual property cost. So we are looking at that. We are looking at the surtax cost, and the legislature is helping us with that. You're welcome.
Any other questions? Seeing none, thank y'all very much.
Thanks, sir.
discussion amongst ourselves, or do I get a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second?
Motion and a second. If you would, please call the roll.
Commissioner Peace,
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Carroll,
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Crosby,
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Raffield,
Yes, ma'am.
Chairman Moore.
Yes, ma'am. We move on now to the public hearing section. This is County Attorney, number 16, revisions to Chapter 11 of the Bay County Code of Ordinances.
Mr. Chairman, this regards revisions to Chapter 11, which is the Health and Human Services section. Also includes affordable housing, which is what the amendments deal with primarily. There are some references to regulations that have since been moved to another location. There was a reference to a predecessor of the current LHAC, which is the committee that oversees the affordable housing program, which was outdated. And there was actually a reference to a particular company that initially helped the county with the affordable housing project in the early 1990s. That's how long this chapter has been since it's been amended significantly. So we are just removing obsolete provisions and changing other provisions to match current law.
Okay, any questions for the county attorney? All right, seeing none, can get a motion.
Motion to approve.
Oh, I'm sorry, thank you. Public hearing. Is anybody here that wishes to speak to this? Okay, and we've got a motion now from Commissioner Crosby. Can I get a second?
Second.
All right, motion and a second. Nobody spoke. Okay, please call the roll.
Commissioner Crosby,
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Raffield,
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Carroll,
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Peace,
Yes, ma'am.
Chairman Moore.
Yes, ma'am. All right, next we have notice of publication for service assessments ordinance. Ms. Beverly McAllister.
Chairman, Commissioners, in 2022, the legislature amended Florida Statute Section 50.011, which basically just allows the county to use a publicly accessible website for noticing as opposed to the newspaper, I'm sure because not as many people get the newspaper with technology and rising costs. And the county has a publicly accessible website. We are just asking to amend the ordinance to clarify that publication on the county's publicly accessible website satisfies the requirements of the Florida statutes for purposes of noticing assessments. So it's basically just lining up with the Florida statutes. And so we would ask that you would adopt this proposed amendment to sections 2114 and 21129.
Question. Folks that don't have internet, will they still have a way to get a publication or a notice or anything of that nature? For our elderly folks?
Well, I know some of them, like depending on what the assessment is, the Clean and Elite stuff goes out with the part of like the truth and millage might come out from the property appraiser. We also do some posting on the outside, the front of the building. So there are other means.
Mr. Commissioner, the statute that creates this mechanism also allows people to ask the commission to send them notices that would go on the website. So if they are interested in getting mailed notices, they can request that. I don't think we have any citizens who have used that, and there is a requirement that we put something in the newspaper once a year, letting them know about that we do this through the website and what their rights are. And of course, the library has internet access for anybody who doesn't have computer access at home.
Questions for Beverly? Commissioner Carroll reminded me just a second ago, this is a public hearing. Is there anybody that wishes to speak to this matter? All right, seeing none, can I get a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Would please call the roll.
Commissioner Carroll.
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Peace.
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Crosby.
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Rattfield.
Yes, ma'am.
Chairman Moore.
Yes, ma'am. All right, last item, community development, Mr. Wayne Porter, PLLDR 2025-0105, Land Development Regulations, Chapter 13 revisions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On June 17th, 2025, the Bay County Planning Commission conducted a public hearing to consider requests from staff to revise Chapter 13 of the Bay County Land Development Regulations. This is the chapter that covers special uses. At the conclusion of the public hearing, the Planning Commission voted to find the recommended text amendments consistent with the comprehensive plan and the land development regulations. County staff is proposing text amendments to Chapter 13 of the land development regulations. Those include Section 1302, which revises language to be more consistent with statutory requirements in regard to home occupations and home offices of convenience. Section 1303 corrects an inconsistency with the definition of a nightclub with that of the definition noted in the Appendix A definitions. And it also corrects a reference to a different section of the LDR in reference to nonconforming uses. Section 1304 includes existing language from Section 3.5 of the Bay County Code of Ordinances regarding the zoning regulations of adult uses. Section 1305 provides language to allow an ornamental fence as high as 8 feet within the front yard setback with a minimum opacity of 25%. And then Section 1306 revises the regulations regarding cannabis dispensing facilities to be compliant with statutory preemption requirements. Staff agrees with Planning Commission and recommends the board conduct a public hearing and approve the proposed amendments and adopt the attached ordinance. Here to answer any questions you have.
Questions for Wayne?
Wayne, what is the current front yard fence?
So currently, the code says that if you have a fence within the front yard setback, you can have a fence within the front yard setback, building setback. However, if it's within that, whatever it may be, 20-foot setback, it cannot exceed 4 feet in height. So this revision would allow language with certain architectural aesthetic requirements to be as high as 8 feet.
You'll have to be able to see through it, that's what the opaque
Correct,
part is.
yes.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Any other questions for Wayne?
It's, Wayne, yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, if you don't mind. I know this is, we're adding ornamental, but on a facility that has, like we require, if you store cars, boats, it has to have a privacy fence. The privacy fence would have to be set at the front setback, right? Even if, so if it was storing boats or cars, no buildings, the fence would have to be 25 feet in, is that correct?
That's correct. If you have a type of property use development that requires screening, like an open storage type facility, the screening requirements in Chapter 35 require they must be at least 6 feet high. Therefore, and in that situation, they have to be screened for public use, so you can't allow any opacity. So you would have to set back your fence for screening purposes at least beyond the building front setback to be able to reach that 6 foot height.
But if it were sales or something that you want to make sure your property is secured, you could have a 6-foot opaque fence at the front setback?
Correct. The LDR does not require screening for things like automotive sales lots and things like that. That inventory, obviously, needs to be on display so people can see it.
Junk? Is that why can't be opaque?
I'm sorry?
So the ones that has to be the solid has to be 25 feet. That's because, is there concern that it's junk, or I'm just trying to, we recently had this conversation. That's why I
Correct.
thought it'd be a great time to bring it
Mr.
up.
Chairman, if I could. So what drove that was essentially junkyards. So we had junkyards popping up in different locations over the county. The junkyards were allowed from a zoning perspective, but the public thought they were unsightly, so you have this requirement in the code that requires an establishment like that to have a fence that you can't see through. So they're legally allowed to have their junkyard there. The public just doesn't want to drive by and see a junkyard. So you have that requirement for the fence to be non-opaque.
But I guess I don't understand, why does it have to be 25 feet back? Why can't it just be at the property line? Or why can't it be at the buffer line and then we put landscaping in front of it?
Because it is a fence, and the fence regulations currently say in Chapter 13 that in order to be higher than 4 feet, you have to set the fence back to the front building setback.
Purposes, being able to pull in and out of lots and being able to right up against exit.
Vision triangle, safety purposes, I think also emergency response purposes as well.
I have another thought, but we may have to address it later. Just curious on, I think landscaping purposes, we at least be 10 feet back. The 25, I don't know, I have a hard time, can't use all of your property because of the type of use, but anyway, we'll save that for another day. Thank you, sir.
Wayne, can you break down the section 1303, where we're correcting the inconsistency with the definition of nightclub? Can you kind of tell us a little bit about that?
Sure, it was the language within 1303 define a nightclub as any premise devoted during any time of operation, predominantly or totally to serving alcoholic beverages for consumption on the licensed premises, in which the serving of food, if any, is merely incidental to the consumption of such beverage, and the hours of operation routinely extended beyond 11 p.m. So the recommendation is to remove that definition, as it's different from the definition noted in our definitions appendix. And I can read that to you, which says, a place of business operated as authorized under state beverage laws where the sale, serving, and on-premise consumption of alcoholic beverages accounts for more than 51% of the business revenues, and the hours of operation routinely extend beyond 11 p.m. So it's just cleaning up that language to make it, we're basically letting the definition in the appendix do the work.
Any other questions for Wayne? Thank you, Wayne. This is open to the public. Is there anyone that wishes to speak to the items brought forward here on this? All right, seeing a couple of yawns and nobody walked forward, I'd say that's a no, so we move on. Next, we have public comment.
Motion.
Oh, I'm sorry, thank you. A motion, can I get a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and second, please call the roll.
Commissioner Crosby?
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Radfield?
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Carroll?
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Peace?
Yes, ma'am.
Chairman Moore?
Yes, ma'am. Now we're on to public comment. Anything, if you'd like to speak to anything you think the county may have authority over, please come forward, state your name and address for the record. Okay, seeing none, we move on. County Attorney's Report.
No report, Mr. Chairman.
County Manager's Report.
Nothing from staff, Mr. Chairman.
All right, Commissioner comments. Change this up a little bit. We'll start with Commissioner Radfield.
I don't really have anything today other than stay hydrated. The heat index today, I think, is like 2 million Scovilles or something outside. So wear sunblock and carry an umbrella if you have one in the vehicle. That's all I got to say.
I want to see you walking with an umbrella.
Never.
All right, Commissioner Carroll.
Yes, sir. Just a couple items. One, I'd like to welcome Blair Saunders in the audience. He is new to the planning department. He is an Alabama grad, and first game of the football season will be against our mighty FSU Noles, so go Noles, just to get that in ahead of time. And secondly, I would like to congratulate Tim Smith. He is our new FDOT secretary. Mr. Gaynor has been incredibly generous and great to Bay County. We wish him well in his retirement, and Tim Smith, I know, will take over that role just as well. But Keith Bryant with our staff, they have created an incredible relationship that allows us to partner with them. Our surtax allows us to leverage those dollars and get all these projects going in Bay County. So we want to welcome Tim Smith and for his role, take it over. That's all I have.
Commissioner Crosby.
I hope everyone had a great 4th of July holiday. Just want to remind everyone that back-to-school tax holiday is the entire month of August, and the Bay District schools go back on August 11th, so right around the corner.
All right, thank you, sir. Commissioner Peace.
Like to welcome our new TDC board member, Jason Branks. I had a chance to get to know him some, and I'm excited about being able to serve with him on the TDC. I think he has a lot to bring to our board. Want to remind everybody that we have not forgotten about the old pass. We are still working on the permitting. It is a slow and painful process, to say the least. I do want to thank the cities that have sent letters in for us. Panama City and Panama City Beach, I think, and maybe Callaway has already sent in a letter. Senator Trumbull sent a letter in, and Griff Griffiths, I think, is working on one now. So just want to remind everybody, if you have a chance and you have not done so, please send a letter in with your support of opening this pass. I think the letters really help, especially from just individuals that won't, know that it would make an incredible difference in our bay. So we're working hard on that. It is, we've got some new things in the works for it, and hopefully we can get this process sped up a little bit, but that's all I had. Thank you.
Thank you. Lastly, echo what Robert said about Tim. Congratulations to him. He's been an excellent partner to the county, working alongside Secretary Gaynor. Look forward to continuing to build on that relationship. And with that, we are adjourned.